This episode of Mohr Stories with the great Natasha Leggero brought to you by Stamps.com. Postage rates changing again. They keep bumping that price of that stupid stamp up. Do it from your own house. Use your printer. Use your postage stuff from your own home. You got a computer? You could be a boss. You could be a stamps man. Stamps.com always updates the postage rates for you automatically, and unlike those postage meter companies, Stamps.com never charges a fee to do it. Stamps.com, you get the exact postage you need at any time. You'll never have to go to the post office again, ever. I've used Stamps.com, and I have a lot of free time on my hands because I'm not standing in line like a dope. Right now, I have a special offer for you guys. Use my last name, Mohr, M-O-H-R. No risk trial. $110 bonus offer. Boom. Also, oh yeah, there's more. There's always more with Stamps.com. Digital scale, $55 free postage. That's a lot of letters. Don't wait. Go to Stamps.com before you do anything else. Click on the microphone at the top of the homepage and type in Mohr, M-O-H-R. Stamps.com, enter Mohr. Don't get your identity stolen. Identity thieves are shrewd. Did you know once somebody stole all my credit and turned around and said I was Natasha Leggero and she was Jay Mohr? And then we made a pilot and hilarity ensued. Well, it's not funny when identity thieves steal your checking and savings accounts. They're after your cash, your retirement. Identity theft has become such a serious and complex crime. No one, not even law enforcement, can stop all the identity theft. You can't fight it alone. That's why you need, ready? LifeLock Ultimate. LifeLock Ultimate is what I use. No one's stealing my business. LifeLock Ultimate protects your identity, your bank accounts from takeover fraud. Not only does it help guard your identity, your good name and credit, those are essential, no question, but LifeLock Ultimate even monitors your bank accounts for takeover fraud. Just one of the reasons it was awarded Best in Detection among Identity Protection Services. LifeLock Services can't protect you or your bank accounts if you're not a member. Visit LifeLock.com and enter the promo code J, J-A-Y, or call and use promo code J, J-A-Y-J, for my special 10% offer discount. Promo code J to get my special 10% discount offer. 800-747-8200. 800-747-8200. 800-747-8200. LifeLock.
Put your name on it. Just put your name on it. That's all I say. Be a man or a woman. Put your name on it.
Well, I'd like to hear about it, potheads.
How the fuck you gonna know how to be great if you don't study greatness? Look at the game tape.
Donuts.
If you want a battle, it's either that you will or you won't.
You know, you're not a bad-looking man, Mr. Gals.
But you are, Blanche. You are in that chair.
There's something wrong with us. Something very, very wrong with us.
Hey, man!
Episode 214, the hot Natasha Leggero. Thank you for coming.
Great to be here, surrounded by bougainvillea. It's so
Bougainvillea,
glamorous.
jasmine you smelled, you said when you came in? We do it right. There's lots of nice foliage.
Your roses up on top, very nice.
Pink roses, pink and white. We do it right. Red, little look at me, the red.
I don't like red roses.
You don't, because
I
you're class.
always tell all my suitors, no red roses. Exotic
the same
flowers
way.
only.
And no baby's breath.
Oh,
The worst.
that is the garbage of the
You
floral community.
It's the flotsam jetsam of just.
You can't ever. I mean, if someone's, I usually take that out of a bouquet.
What if a guy brings you flowers and it has baby's breath in it? Is that like this
Major
is not-
deal. That's like taking me to Disneyland.
There are you hate Disneyland.
Do not.
What if a guy just comes to your door and puts a baby in your face and has him breathe on you?
Baby's breath, literally.
That actually sounds pretty bad too.
You're not a big fan of the babies. You don't want children. A lot of your stand-up is.
I don't say that really. I mean, a lot of my stand-up is about what? That I don't want children? I think you might be confusing me with Jen Kirkman.
Yeah, you. I'm Jiminy Glick. I'm here with Jen Kirkman.
Why aren't you Jen Kirkman right now?
No, you don't. You do. Do you want children? I'm not confusing you with anybody. By the way, the gig we did, I'll let you answer that question. I'll let you ruminate on it. It's a big word. It means think, I suppose. I barely get out of high school. You have a bachelor's degree from what, Hunter College?
I mean, that's not much better.
You're a fancy pants.
In theater criticism.
Yeah, so basically you just criticize yourself because you work in theaters.
Well, I mean, I was applying that towards the theater when I lived in New York, and I would write, criticisms.
You want
reviews.
to be like Clive Barker?
I mean,
is that the right name?
I don't know what I was doing, really.
Is that the guy, the critic, Clive?
I don't think it's Clive Barker.
Clive Barnes? Clive Barnes.
That might be better.
The guy that goes to Broadway and says, like,
yes.
It was this, the Fosse number was a little flat.
Yes.
It was no sweet charity, but what is, et cetera, et cetera. You want to do that? You want to be that lady?
I mean, I think I entertained that for a brief moment, but then I decided to come here and just make fun of TLC.
Good. You should. It is amazing. Like, the Learning Channel has just degenerated into, like, Honey Boo Boo and Little People Making Chocolate.
It's pretty crazy if you look at their lineups.
What's your favorite show on the Learning Channel?
Probably, I like Freaky Eaters.
My Weird Addiction, My Strange Addiction.
No, that's different. I like that one too.
Well, there's an actual show called Freaky Eaters.
There's one called Freaky Eater. My Strange Addiction is like when they eat toilet paper and sandpaper and Drano. And there was this person who's like addicted to picking up animal carcasses from the side of the road.
Yeah, I saw that one.
Like, I think people they're just trying to get on television.
Well, yeah, they're all like Ellen Burstyn and Requiem.
Exactly.
I just want to be on television, even if I have to eat chalk every day of my life.
I mean, that's what life is now. It's like. You have to really get to a point where I'm trying to get there where, TV is not the world.
But it is to the rest of the country.
Well, that's why it's so good for comics right now. And that's why music, this isn't really the time for music. I mean, the time for music, I think, was the 60s and 70s.
Yeah. We have a lot of musical guests on the podcast, and it is weird. Like, there's no place to buy an album. There's no CD. It's all digital downloads. They don't make any money. The only way to make money, like in music now, is touring.
Yeah, I mean, I was showing my friend my iPhone last night. He's like, "Where's all your music?" And I was like, "On Spotify." And he's like, "What?" And I was like showing him how like any album you can think of, and he was trying to come up with the most obscure things. And I was like, "It is on," and we would find everything on Spotify.
I love Spotify.
And it's the entire album for free, no commercials.
Pandora has commercials.
For $40 a year, you can have no commercials on Pandora.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
$40 a year.
Upgrade
that. Ryan Sickler was in my truck once, and something was playing on. I had something on my music playing. And he actually held his phone up to the speaker, and then his phone told him what was playing.
Shazam.
That's Shazam?
An app.
Yep.
That's an app?
Yeah.
The
That's
Shazam
an app.
Free download.
So
baby.
TLZ, you like Freaky
TLZ,
Eaters.
I like that.
TLC, the Learning Channel. Yo, TLZ with Harry Levin. Hold on. I've become Jiminy Glick. I'm overclamped in the presence of fancy pants like yourself.
Oh, thank you.
By the way, the gig we did in San Francisco, it was you,
That was
me,
San Francisco? Oh, that was Redwood City.
Ish, yeah. San Francisco adjacent.
Yes.
It was black tie. It was in this nice theater, and you went on first, and we're in like the bowels of this theater, and I actually left my little tiny like shitty box dressing room because when you can hear the applause where we were, it was just very weird to hear. You were destroying is what I'm getting at. So
I mean,
I went
that's
up
nice
and watched.
of you to say.
No, it was true. But it was funny because both.
I had the sweet spot though.
First, I would say it'd be tough. A black tie crowd.
I mean, when you're doing long sets, I don't know. I always like going up cold.
I always like going up first because I get to go home. That's all I care. And you beat it out of there too, and you left me there alone in my dingy dressing room. And then I was like, "Wow, she just really left." And then Whitney Cummings goes, "How's everybody doing tonight?" I'm like, "Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna get out of here too." Everybody, all three comics just left. It was very nice, and then we all just left.
Well, I had stuff to do over at that Four Seasons hotel.
Four Seasons, Palo Alto.
I had some towels to use.
Yeah, you did.
I love. That's one thing I've realized about hotels. Because I've been watching Downton Abbey, and the only time you can still live like that is in a hotel.
Yeah.
Like they knock on your door to do this, basically to open your curtains and turn down your sheets and put a chocolate on your pillow and put your slippers out.
Yeah, it's the best.
So it's like you still can kind of and then you not ring a bell, but you pick up the phone and they bring you a tray and a silver tray with food, and they pour your coffee for you and set out your soup, and
it's like being a dictator.
It's pretty great.
I would like a club sandwich. Please send it to me.
Granted, it's like $70. I remember I bought a Cobb salad that night after the show, and I think it was $70.
$70 for the Cobb?
Yeah, because it was like, I said, can you put salmon on it instead of the chicken? And they're like, sure, no problem. But then they charged me for like a $30 piece of salmon.
Yeah.
The salad was like $35, and then all of the charges. It was pretty crazy.
The other level,
it was delicious, but
I think
$70 salad.
That's well, it's a Four Seasons. That's what it is. You could have been at the.
I don't usually stay at the Four Seasons.
The Motel 5, and then you're at the vending machine for like a Clark bar.
You're trying to microwave some Stouffer's macaroni and cheese.
If you're lucky, if there's a microwave.
Because that's another thing. I've been at hotels where I'm like, there's no food. There's nowhere to walk to.
No
I'm starving.
No snacks.
No mini bar.
Right.
And then they had like Stouffer's, and so I was like, okay, I guess I'll get one of those. And they're like, well, we don't have any microwaves available, but you can rent one tomorrow for $15.
Rent one.
Like, who am I? What's happening?
These are good. You're like a minor league baseball player. Like, man, you was on it today. I had my Stouffer's last night.
Rent a microwave? I've never heard of that.
No, you got to rent everything. You know what you do is because
like rent a fridge.
Yeah, you know what you do if you don't want to pay for the fridge, you tell them it's for medication. They can't charge you.
Dude, how about I just pay for a better hotel?
Just travel with me and my wife. You could just be like, we'll figure out some type of act. Because
You
you
guys-
saw me go to another level. I was in the lobby in my bathrobe in a hotel.
Oh, you were. That was pretty
That was
good.
the first time you and I had ever met. Is I just walked by in a goddamn bathrobe, like an old Jewish Borscht Belt comic. I'm in a bathrobe and slippers, like, huh?
Well,
Is
that's
there
what's
good
nice
Danish?
about the Four Seasons. You can kind of do that. Well, because it's a spa too.
Yeah, and you guys caught
I hope
me.
this is very relatable material for everybody.
It is very relatable. All the listeners stay at Four Seasons hotels all the time. Everyone out there that's hoofing it for a living, they do the right thing. So, theater critic, that fascinates because like being close to show business, but you don't ever really have to get up there and like sin bravely. You can just write the review.
But I didn't really do that. I just did it in college, and then I thought I didn't really know what I was going to do, and then I moved out here, and then started doing stand-up.
You were really.
But I was a child actor.
Were you really? Mm-hmm. What were the parts? What would you do?
It was mostly theater.
Yeah.
And so I was at part of this regional theater, which regional means it's part community, part professional. So it's not like super professional, but I was always around like equity actors, and I got to not go to school for a while.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Then when you go back to school, do the kids look at you cross-eyed like, oh, look, here comes
No, they didn't care. No, I still couldn't get anyone's attention.
Really? Well, you made up for it, my love.
Thank you.
So this whole thing about being a child actor, like what plays do you do as a kid? I never there's really not that many.
Well, you're
roles
like the kid in the adult show. So like, in Christmas Carol,
Well, I
you
assume
play
that.
like
I didn't think you were the lead in Sweeney Todd
Right.
at 6. Like, where do you see the 6-year-old do? She's amazing.
or like in Inherit the Wind, there's like a kid part, or like in Our Town, there's a kid. There's kids in plays.
And this is in Illinois.
Mm-hmm. In Rockford, Illinois.
How many kids are on like a regional theater audition?
I didn't have to audition. I was like
Whoa.
part of the community.
Baller status, getting straight offers from the
I
community.
got straight offers.
Natasha, it's Mike over at the Rotaries Club. Listen,
Hey, I didn't say I was a child star. It was a child actor.
well, if you're getting,
I was like pounding the pavement.
can you dance? Were you a triple threat? Can you dance, sing, and do all of it? I won't make you sing or dance.
I mean, I can dance to like hip hop.
but not you can't do like the Shorty George. On,
I mean, I have like rhythm, but I was not like a trained. My mom put me in tap, but I was not very good at that.
I would think you'd be good at tap.
I mean, I like to do things my own way. I don't
Of
like to
course you do.
learn. I don't like to learn their thing. And that's what you find out too. Like to be a singer or dancer at that level, you just have to be so great.
You're at Sketchfest January 25th in San Francisco. Did I get that right?
Yeah, thanks.
January 25th, Natasha Leggero at Sketchfest. Now, I don't know. I always see Sketchfest promoted by people. Is it what it sounds like?
It's not what it sounds like. It's basically a 3-week comedy festival in San Francisco with tons of stand-up, tons of improv. It's not like primarily sketches. I'm not sure why it's called Sketchfest, but it's one of my favorite festivals.
Do people like if you were doing stand-up, which you're going to be doing?
Yes.
Where is it? What venue? Do you know?
I do not know.
You'll tweet it out at Natasha Leggero. 2 G's.
2 G's.
Leggero. 2 G's.
Double G.
Double G. Leggero. Natasha Leggero
It's like
at Natasha
DiGiorno,
Leggero.
but Leggero.
I would. You know what? I thought of that all day. Her name is just like DiGiorno. She's so lucky. There's no silent H's and weird stuff. How many times do you have to... All right, so Sketchfest, if you're doing stand-up comedy, at Natasha Leggero on Twitter, do you ever get like... I have like this like Pollyannish view of like anything that happens outside of like the Melrose Improv. Do like sketch people go like, hey, do you want to hop in and be a part of the improv thing we're going to do at midnight? Or
I've done some of that stuff. It's not my favorite. But like one thing they'll have comics do is like tell a story and then the improvisers will act out. Like they have all their different shows and games and, you know, whatever
they would
improvisers
act out
do.
I love like the story stuff.
Yeah, it's
like when I've
it's
done
stuff like that.
Like Uncab and Risk
It's
podcast.
like that,
I
yeah.
love that. But I don't know.
Yeah.
I think I might get freaked out if guys are acting out the story of me blowing a guy when I was 8 years old.
Did that happen?
He-
You blew
well,
a guy
the-
when you were 8 years old?
Yeah, well, we had this discussion off mic. You and I were talking. I told you that Greg Proops and I were trying to decide which one of us is the gayest straight man, because we're both really know far too much for guys that grew up like watching baseball and playing sports. But
Oh, well,
yes,
that's what's weird about Greg Proops is that to find out he's into sports, that's where
crazy into sports.
Right.
He's like
and you're crazy into musical theater, so you guys both have. But
Yeah.
you look like you'd be into sports, but you're probably into sports too.
Considering
your email. I don't want to give it out,
Yeah, well,
but it has the word sports.
I had a show with sports in the title, and a sports talk radio host. So it's all, and everyone on the staff had like the same email, like from the show.
Okay, so I'm not giving away any
That was
secrets.
pacifying my giant ego. Like everyone's gonna have the same email. It's like a corporation, man. And then you look back and you go, wow, it's really just made people force their emails.
You know what I hate more than baby's breath and more than Disneyland is sports.
Really?
Yes. Have I already lost the whole crowd?
No, not at all. But
Like
I
could
think
never understand the concept of like watching men exercise and getting excited.
it doesn't excite. Well, that's okay. Let me give you a quick pitch.
And then also people like kill themselves when their team doesn't win. Like imagine people like imagine people going to see Rigoletto or something and then like hanging themselves after the opera because they
that's
didn't
what
like how it turned out.
in all fairness, people in the opera are hanging themselves. So I mean,
That's
it's kind of
true.
acted out for you.
That's a good
so you go home and
point.
feel better about yourself because your husband wasn't beheaded in the town square during the aria. Here's the thing about sports. I'll give
Aria, see, he knows this shit.
I'll give you the quick pitch, and I'm not trying to sell you on it, but I'm saying in comedy, everything is completely subjective. In sports, there is a very discernible, clear-cut winner, and they're from the town.
So there's no accounting for taste.
None.
Seems
None.
like it.
No, there's no accounting for taste unless you like the way a guy wears his particular jersey.
I like his style.
Hey, come on out to the ballpark.
This one's got swagger. He won in my book.
It's very 1940s. Come on out to the ballpark. Look at the way Jackie Robinson, the first Negro ball player, wears his jersey with style at the ballpark. He has swagger.
That would be interesting.
If they had swagger and if they
Well, no,
could
if
wear-
that's what you judged it on. But it seems like you're just judging it on like.
Who won? Yes,
Right.
Natasha. We are exactly judging sports on the winner from a team that's from the town that we're from. So it's a bit of civic pride.
Oh,
Like if
civic
there's-
pride. Okay.
Like if you're from Rockford,
Interesting.
Illinois, and there's a Rockford team, and you go, oh, wow, this is like the team from my town, and it generates revenue, and it's fun, and it's just something to root for.
I've never been into team spirit.
Why should you be? What about Teen Spirit? Where are you on that?
That
the
I'm
deodorant.
more into.
Not the song, the deodorant.
Oh, okay. The deodorant I think is disgusting, but the song, I will tell you, I was a youngster in Chicago, and someone took me to this concert, and I didn't know what it was, and we were at the Cabaret Metro, and it was like one of the shaping moments of my life. I just remember hearing that song like live in like the third row, and just being like stopping. Like I was like time stopped. I was like, this is an amazing song.
And what's incredible
This
is
is-
she didn't see Nirvana. She saw it was actually a Journey cover band that just went sideways.
No,
It
but
smells
that
like Teen
song,
Spirit.
I mean, that's
I agree
the
with you.
90s.
It was a
like,
game changer.
To feel that live, because the problem with music now is that everything's derivative. There's not much like new music.
And there's no instruments.
Hip hop is new-ish, but like it's all so much the same. But I mean, I'm not saying that there aren't great bands out there, but a lot of the great stuff is still derivative of something that was great a long time ago.
Absolutely.
But like the 90s, like with Nirvana, like that was a new sound. I think there's like some dance music is new, like that's like a new thing. But a lot of like you go see these bands. Who did I see? This band, Alabama Shakes. Like they're a great band, but every song you're like, oh, that's the Beatles. Oh, that's a Wings. That sounds just like a Wings song. Oh, that sounds like
I
Paul
love
Simon.
Wings.
Oh, that sounds like Led Zeppelin. Oh,
Yeah.
that like everything is derivative.
I like that you loved Smells Like Teen Spirit because that knocked me on my ass when I first heard it too. And it was one sentence that hit me right in the stand-up comic core, and that was, I feel stupid and contagious. And I remember going, whoa. And I could only imagine. And then it's weird.
I was just reacting to the sound of it, but yeah, you're right. The lyrics too are like,
and a lot of it's nonsense. Like you read like Kurt's notebooks and stuff, and it's a lot of like rhyming, like mosquito, my libido, and albino.
right.
But then just every once in a while he would land, a heart-shaped box. You're just like, oh my God. And Rape Me, and the songs that even got released posthumously that Courtney Love's fighting the band for the rights to. Like, he really did nail it. And Stupid and Contagious was the first lyric I ever heard where I thought about people behind me, like 13-year-olds with acne, like worrying about their body image, like how important that sentence was to them. Like when Eminem said, how can I be white if I don't exist? And you're like, well, they just won over the entire black community with that one sentence.
Mm-hmm.
And you're right. Nobody does anything like that anymore. And every band's 50. Like even like Foo Fighters, like Dave Grohl's like this young, fun guy, and you're like, but he's 52. Like there's no, like when the Stones were touring, they were like 26 years old, and they were doing like Midnight Rambler. It was crazy. And Nirvana, they were young. I guess the only way to really succeed is you really have to die. To be a rock and roll superstar, to get on the T-shirt, you have to die. Otherwise, you're the Eagles and you're playing an Indian casino in Seattle someplace, and it gets depressing after a while when you keep trotting out the act.
Can you imagine, like, because with comedy, people really want new stuff, but with music, you kind of want
hate
like,
new
how many
stuff.
times can the Violent Femmes sing "Blister in the Sun"? Like, you see them, like, they must just. I mean, that's like a curse.
You don't want to hear something off of "Why Do Birds Sing," like track 8?
I mean, maybe.
But yeah, you're right. If I see Violent Femmes, I want to hear "Blister in the Sun."
I know, that's the problem.
3 times. There's 3 songs I want to hear 3 times, and then they can just jam, and I can go take a leak.
I heard the Pixies talking about. I think they were breaking up because they just couldn't write new songs, and they didn't want to keep doing the same stuff. And then I saw the Breeders, because I do a lot of music festivals, and so you get to see all these acts. And like I saw the Breeders, and they were actually just doing their album from the 90s. From start to finish, like that's their touring.
Last Splash and
like whatever that big, I forgot what it's called.
Cannonball.
Yeah, well that's one of the songs, but
of
whatever that album was.
I think it was Last Splash. I'm not sure though. There's no reason to argue about it. You don't have to get crazy.
But the point is, I mean, I think generating material is really hard.
You're right, and with comics, that's the thing about. With comedy, it seems like I was just having this conversation. Paul Mercurio was on his podcast, and I realized as I was speaking, and I said it aloud to him, like unlike athletes and unlike musicians, it's never like we never like tear hamstrings. We're never past our prime. It's like, I'm 43 years old, and I feel like right now I'm starting to really crack the code of me, like what I'm doing.
That's when people come into their own. Usually, I mean, that's why it's like for women. Having, lived through a few decades of like being a professional, like, when I was 20, I was kind of retarded. And then in my 30s, like nothing really happened to me till I was like in my 30s. But like, I feel that's like when men come into their own as their 40s. So if women are working now, why wouldn't they be coming into their own when they're 40s?
Right. But if someone told you that at 28 years old, you would have told them they were crazy. Like
that's true.
It seems like every year that you do stand-up comedy, you're like, okay, now I'm nailing it. And then like you get like 20 minutes.
Is that how you think? That's pretty pretty confident. I can't tell you that every year I'm like, now I'm nailing it.
Maybe I'm over-exaggerating with the every year.
But I do hope to get better, yeah.
Are you like a depressed comic? Because everyone,
no.
Do you get asked that question the most when you do press? Like, are all comics depressed? We always hear about.
I mean, I think all comics are dark. And I think most comics, I think improvisers are usually funny people who got love from their parents. And I think that like stand-ups are usually funny people who did not get love from at least one of their parents.
Insufferable attention whores.
Yeah, like something happened. Like it's not like you have to be funny. It's not like something had to have happened for you to be funny, but I do think something had to happen for you to want to do stand-up. And I'm not saying you were raped.
No,
but like even like I read, Tina Fey's book, and like she was sliced in an alley as like a 7-year-old in the
statute of limitations
on her
are up. I
face,
can talk about
and
it
like
now.
Sarah Silverman wet her bed, and then Chelsea Handler's siblings died, and
I wet my bed too. I didn't know I could get a $2 million book deal over it. Oh, I said that like Colin.
But I'm just saying,
I wet my bed all the time.
Usually something happened to people, and that's why it's like fun when you get to know comedians, because
Just means somebody opened a door in the house.
So we're worried about the helicopter, but not that.
No, we don't. It's transparent. The difference with me and what you just said is nothing happened to me. And
Nothing?
Nothing. My whole
you
life.
got like great. Your mom and dad love each other. They didn't get divorced.
Like everything was absent. Everything. I was always like, everything was like Springsteen-esque. Like there has to be something just out of my reach because nothing's happened. Where I'm standing right now.
What do you mean nothing happened?
I was bored constantly, and like everyone was 3 years older than me in the neighborhood. So like when they were in high school, I was in junior high, and once you're like a high school person, you're not going to hang out with like a junior high person, even though you grew up in the same.
This is your dark side?
No, it's not dark. I'm saying.
Everyone was 3 years old.
I blew somebody when I was 8. What's darker than that?
So nothing bad happened to you with your family or anything?
Child of an alcoholic, and
that's something.
Yes, but that's not
like fighting, and that's like not like a perfect nuclear
right. And
family.
that was like 0 to 8. And my mom's been sober like a super long time, but I really think it was the absence of stimuli.
That's interesting.
Where I would like get on my bike and literally drive my bike like 4 towns over to find like a playground with an entirely new set of human beings and create a separate reality and say like, my name is Mike Majors. And like, what do you do? Oh, I play baseball. I just moved here from, and I would make up like, I would actually like pull towns out of like an encyclopedia and make up like, and for the day, everyone was like, did you meet Mike? Mike's the coolest guy. And then I would go back and I would just sit alone in my room with a Matchbox card. So it was the absence of anything happening whatsoever. And
you might be special.
Parents that, if you get sober when your kid's 8, like your whole life is getting sober. I'm not saying my mother neglected me by any means, but my father is not like, I love you, son, like how the fathers are today. And it was, my sisters were like 7 and 6 years older than me. So I was always alone, like am I really fishing alone? Is this really happening? Am I like Opie Cunningham? Was that Taylor? It was just nothing was ever happening.
Where are you from?
Verona, New Jersey. It's like Rockford.
That sounds dark enough to become a comedian.
It's like the Jersey Shore, but in the suburbs. Like just a whole bunch of like huge Italian guys that wanted to fight all the time.
So then why do you think you got into stand-up comedy?
There's a hole
you need
inside
the attention.
me that needs to be filled with attention.
Right.
And then booze, drugs, like I tried filling it all those other ways as well. And nothing ever hits that pleasure button like stand-up does. I
remember being
Yeah.
I remember being a child and just standing up and not knowing what was going to come out of my mouth, but knowing that I needed to stand up and talk. Like, so I would just like, there'd be a debate and I just remember being like raising my hand, standing up, and then being like, part of me was like, I wonder what I'm going to say. But I knew, like, so it was almost
were
like.
you on the debate team or were you in the
audience? No, but just like whenever there was like something to talk about, like I always needed to be a part of it.
Like a classroom discussion or something.
Anything.
Yeah.
And it was just like, it wasn't like I had something I mean, obviously there's times I had something I needed to say.
But what happened to you that was so dark? You're.
Well, I mean, I'm just saying, like, I didn't get, there was like a lacking of attention.
Well, that I could turn the tables on you and go, that doesn't really seem that dark.
Well, just like.
Were you sliced in an alley? Did you wet? What if you wet your bed and the guy that made the mattress? This is not.
Hey, I didn't say I was going to divulge all my secrets to you.
I'm realizing right now how unfunny that was going to be. We've set the bar high. It's two people that respect each other too much for me to go down that road about.
All I'm saying is that it's usually interesting to hang out with comedians. I feel like we have a commonality, and I don't know what it is. Stand-up comedians.
Buddy Hackett told me when he first moved into his house on Whittier Avenue in Beverly Hills, he found out Bob Newhart lived 6 houses down. So he left his house and he started walking down the street. And his wife goes, where are you going? He goes, Bob Newhart lives down the street. I'm going to go knock on his door and say hi. And his wife goes, you've never met Bob Newhart. And Buddy Hackett said, I remember standing on the sidewalk and I couldn't explain to Sherry, my wife, you don't understand. We're comics.
That's cool.
And then I asked Newhart if that really happened. He said, yeah. And he said, stand-up comics, like great stand-up comics, it's the this is fucking Newhart. Second smallest club next to living presidents.
Really?
And I was like, that is one of the cooler things I've ever heard in my life.
That is so cool.
He was the guy I blew when I was 8 years old.
I mean,
I thought for
blowing
sure.
people at 8. I didn't even know when I was 15,
I didn't
giving
know what it
my
was
first
either.
blowjob, I was like, I don't know what's going to happen. I didn't know what I was supposed to do. I mean, I figured it out, but like
I figured it out
you,
quick too.
But 8, I didn't know what that was.
The kid was.
Now they know, I'm sure.
Well, I teach them. They need
What
to.
are you going to do about your kids? Like, can't they just get on the internet and just see a pussy like so easily?
Yes.
I mean, not to freak you out, but
Yeah, and we have a lot of Maplethorpes hung all over the house. They're everywhere anyway. Foots
no,
and
but I
assholes.
mean, don't you just
No, I
like
know.
Google girl and like a pussy comes up? Like, how do you prevent? Like, oh, there must be like safety things on your.
Not on mine, on my laptop. We showed Daryl Wright, a guy getting fucked by a horse last Monday. That was
Did
delightful.
your kids see it?
No, it
I
was
like you
here.
can
He was
smoke
sitting
on your podcast.
Go ahead, do your thing. But no, my son asked me, did you know? I remember it was like 2 years ago. My oldest son said, "Did you know if you can type sex onto the computer?" That's all he said, and I was like, "Oh no."
How old is he?
Now he's 11, so he's 9 when he said it.
So he'll be on Tinder in like 2 years.
Definitely. Yeah.
Tinder is like my friend.
What is Tinder? I'm
You don't
playing
know what
along.
Tinder is?
No, I don't want to lie at all. So just tell me what it is.
You don't know what it is?
No.
Are you kidding?
No, I swear to God.
Do you know what Tinder is?
I don't.
So it's basically a free service for blowjobs. I don't know.
Hey,
No, we don't know for real.
I really don't.
It's like a dating service, but all you need to see is the person's age and their picture.
Okay, so what's it called? Write it down here.
It's
You can't
Tinder.
remember Tinder, you nudnik?
Fuck you.
What's a nudnik? Is that
I
some
don't know.
Verona, New Jersey?
I heard
slang?
Howard Stern say it to somebody
okay.
once. So Tinder is a dating site.
Kind of, yeah. And you just it's almost like a game, and you swipe to the right if you want to fuck them, and swipe to the left if you don't, and then based on where you're at, like if you can do it on the road. So if you're in San Diego, it's like people within a 5-mile radius. People
Go
within
on.
a 5-mile radius of where you are, you log in, your GPS, the Tinder knows your GPS, and then you swipe to the right. And so if you get a match, like a girl who you swiped also swiped you, then you can start DMing with each other. And usually it escalates very fast into just pictures of their pussies. And then you fuck them for free.
Have you ever used, be honest, have you ever used Tinder?
No. First of all, if people know who you are,
Well,
like
hold
they could
on,
do a
hold-
screenshot and then
hold
put
on
on
a
my Twitter
second.
that I'm on Tinder.
You said no, like it was the craziest question in the world, and you're like, "What? You guys don't
Well, I
know
think-
Tinder?
I think it's
Swipe
for,
to the
like-
right if you want to fuck him. Next thing you know, you're looking at box.
Well, because it's
You're 5
I
miles
have
away.
like friends who are on it.
Brazilian wax, 5 miles away. Look at it. Box.
I don't need
You
Tinder.
have friends that are on it,
Yeah, like little comics I hang out with.
and they just hook up and they just go random. Whatever happened to just going to like a Dave and Buster's on Coke and
It's a lot of-
whiskey
it's a
sours?
lot
You
of
should
work.
also
You
go
want to
to
get
a
out of
Dave
here.
and Buster's. Well, that's more
It's a lo-
work.
yeah, it's
Dave
a
and
lot of work.
Buster's.
Not if you have
this
Coke.
one, it's like you both think you're attractive. I mean, you think the person's attractive.
But then you risk them not being the person that they're supposed to be.
Of course. How could they? I mean,
Then
I
you're going
think
to be duct taped and put in a trunk, and then it's
but
the whole deal.
My point of this was
No, let
I've
me tell you
seen.
something. Nobody's duct taping Natasha
I
Leggero
wasn't
on my
so-
watch in this lifetime. If anybody has a crossword about Natasha Leggero, I'm coming over to the table. I'm headbutting their fucking
That's
face.
my
I do
favorite
feel
show.
like
Jersey,
you're
right?
someone who would like beat someone up. I
For
bet your
you, I
wife
would-
feels very protected.
I would hope so. That's why you marry somebody, right? You don't want to marry somebody that you don't feel safe around.
I would like to be protected. Yes.
I'll protect you, just as my friend. I'm being completely.
I got your back.
I'm being completely serious. Anybody's got a problem with Natasha Leggero? Bring it up. Bring it up
You know,
with me.
I got
Tweet
some
me.
fan mail some hate mail to my house, and then I looked online and everybody's address. Oh, I
Yeah.
shouldn't even say this.
Go on. No, you don't want to. You know what you need?
Is on Tinder. Everyone's address is on Tinder.
Yeah, because you got to know.
But the thing I was
where
gonna-
their pictures of pussies.
Where the
are.
pussies are.
Well, let me just tell you about Tinder though. So, like 23-year-old girls are sending these pictures of like them like with a fish hook in their mouth. They're like sucking on blowjobs, like things I would never think.
do you-
Taking
how
a picture
exactly
of
a
myself.
blowjob?
How do you suck on a blowjob?
I mean,
exactly?
suck on a dildo. Giving a blowjob to a dildo, and I'm like, so these. And then my friend was like, he ended up having sex with one of these girls, and he's like, yeah, but she never had an orgasm. So I'm like, these girls are like putting out there that they're so sexual, but really they don't know their bodies enough to really have an orgasm during sex. But they're just like, oh, they're so sexed up that they're sucking on a piece of plastic.
Yeah, it's
Like, what
hard to have an
enjoyment are
orgasm.
you getting out of that?
None.
That's clearly for like a man.
Yeah, it's to get the guy in, and they have a hole in them, not well figuratively in this case, where that needs filling, and it's not about the orgasm. It's just having a guy in their house telling them like you're beautiful and all those nice things. I would guess.
Oh, yes, and that's the other thing. They invite you over to their house. Like we were in Austin, and this girl just like had my friend come over to her house. I mean, he's just like a little nebbishy guy, so it's like no big deal. But you know,
He was into it. He got down.
Yeah.
But fan mail to your house, that's crossing the line. You know what you need, Natasha Leggero, is LegalZoom.com.
What's LegalZoom.com?
I'm glad you asked. You know, you get your life organized, you start a business, you can quickly do both at LegalZoom.com, Natasha Leggero. Getting your life organized starts with the last will and testament. Do you have one?
No.
I want you to put in your last will and testament through LegalZoom.com, and I want to make sure.
Should I have a will?
Of course you should have a will, because you have to put in the will that I'll protect you.
I have a boyfriend.
All right, but you safety in number. It's not that kind of party, honey. Safety in numbers. You want as many
He's got
men as
muscles.
Okay.
But you can protect me too.
You know what? Now you're on your own, sweetheart.
LegalZoom.com.
Protect your assets, your family. You get peace of mind. If you're starting a business, if you want to start like Natasha Leggero's cool hat company, because I love the it's a little sweet and low-downish, your hat you're wearing down right now.
Thank you.
It's very fashionable, cool. You know what it is? It's very Soho. I dig the vibe. It's very Cobblestone Street, Manhattan.
It's very, this is what I do, and I haven't bathed yet today.
I haven't bathed yet today. I just have to throw on this
I can
hat.
really throw it together.
I've seen you throw it together.
Look.
The pajama look, and
well,
I've seen your on-stage look is great.
Thank you.
You throw it all together. You need to protect your assets with LegalZoom.com. Natasha.
Protect those hats.
LegalZoom.com has helped start over 1 million businesses. That's why they earned an A+ by the Better Business Bureau. LegalZoom's step-by-step process was created by a team of experts in law and technology. LegalZoom is not a law firm, but they can connect you with a third-party attorney and provide you with self-help services for special savings. Enter Mohr, my last name, M-O-H-R, in the referral box at checkout. Please don't let another month go by before you take care of these things for your family and business, from wills to business formation, trademark applications, powers of attorney, even bankruptcy help. Go to LegalZoom.com. Why don't you have a will?
Oh.
You have to have a will.
I'll get one. But this just reminds me, have you seen that documentary, Hot Coffee?
No.
You have to see it. It'll
Spill
freak
it.
you out.
Spill it, girl.
Well, there's this thing called mandatory arbitration. Well, the documentary is about, did you remember, like, I think it was in the 90s, this old woman spilled hot coffee, McDonald's coffee. It was like a big thing.
Now that says caution, it's hot inside.
Right, but it was like a whole thing with the Bush administration, like no frivolous lawsuits, and everyone got really against this. And now, you know, even though you might win a lawsuit of a certain amount of money, there's caps that are hidden. So even if you know, there was this woman who had a mentally retarded baby, and it was the doctor's fault, so they awarded her $6 million to take care of this baby for the rest of its life, but then really when it goes to court, you only get like $500,000.
Really?
And then what's worse is this thing called mandatory arbitration. Watch the movie. I don't know if I'm the best person to explain this, but essentially in all of the contracts that we're signing, from your bank to your credit card to anything that you, even if you like, anything you would want to sue someone for if you got the wrong thing, in your contract there's a little clause that's mandatory arbitration, which means you're signing away your right to ever sue anyone. The only person who is in charge is an arbitrator chosen by the company who you're trying to sue. So you can never
LegalZoom.com.
That's what that reminded me of. Well, but they can't handle it because even in your
you don't understand,
you can
Natasha.
never sue Bank of America. You can't. And you know how you sign your contract with Bank of America? When you open an account. Remember, like, when you've opened an account and then they send you some stuff, like, a few weeks later. Just by reading that and opening it, there's a little clause that says, just by opening this, you have now agreed to the new thing, which is the mandatory arbitrator.
And that means you can't take it to a real court.
You can never take anything to a real court. And everyone's having these things, from the exercise bikes you buy, if you try to sue, anything. I'm telling you.
And they get to choose somebody who sits you down, both parties. And
You've heard of this.
Yeah. And then they decide.
So if I'm on this treadmill right here and I fall down because it's faulty and I break a rib,
yes.
I can't sue this company.
You can, but there's going to go to an arbitrator, not a court of law, not an open
picked by
court.
Nautilus.
Picked by them.
Hypothetically, if that's
and
the one
obviously, if it's picked by them, then you're not going to win.
The scales are tipped.
Have you ever been to court?
No.
Have you ever been a juror?
No.
Have you gotten a jury notice in the mail?
Yes, and I always get out of them. Last time I was a juror, I just remember them making an announcement saying that just because you do not speak English does not mean you cannot be a juror for the Los Angeles court system. And they just kept repeating that over and over. So I was like, okay, these people cannot be that serious. And then I would just be like, I've got to go. And then they just give you a little thing, and they're like, okay, we'll give you it in this date. And then you just never get it.
So that was your way of getting out of being a juror, saying, I have to go.
Basically. Because I did.
Well, doesn't
Get back to your room and use towels?
Matty boy with the callback. A lot of towels to use. I got a Cobb salad with salmon waiting. I can't be sitting in a juror number 44.
No, I would do it. I think it'd be interesting.
I think it'd be interesting too. And but you got to get on a really good case. But the problem is, like, if it's a drug dealer, a vicious like cartel guy, the whole cartel comes to court and they just stare at you during the entire trial to like intimidate you.
I also think people like me and you are not the types of people like juries want people who are just very malleable, who don't have like fully, strong opinions. I think comedians have very strong opinions about things. Like I think there's a certain type of person they're looking for, and it's usually not
a dummy. They're looking for dummies.
Yeah,
they're looking at people that can't get out of jury duty.
Right. So then one side will want you, but then obviously the side that wants you, I think they both have to agree, right?
Yeah,
I've never been, but I'm assuming they have to agree.
They both have to sign off on you.
Yeah. So
it's really like a callback for a show.
I got a callback.
Producer and network both have to sign off on juror number 81. I was told by a police friend of mine, he said, when you're asked questions, you say, I'm very uncomfortable because I was once beaten up by a law enforcement person, but I'm too traumatized to talk about it. And then they'll bounce out.
Interesting.
And they're like, well, we're talking about agricultural finance reform, so I don't know where that comes into play. Probably some stupid farm trial. I would get stuck with the boringest goddamn trial. You'd get something cool and interesting, and you'd write a best-selling book about it, and I'd be like, we're not getting enough grain in the grapevine.
My friend who did it, he's a very intelligent person, and it seemed riveting. I mean, he was part of like a murder case, and it was he couldn't talk about it, though. That's the problem, too. You can't talk about it.
How many jurors do you think actually don't talk about it? Because you and I would not be able to.
Well, you certainly can't write a book about it.
Right, but we'd be at like, we'd be at a comedy show going, all right, I'm on jury duty. There's this guy.
I don't know. I think they fucking scare you. I don't know.
What do you mean? How scare you? How? Like, what are they going to do?
Contempt.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm afraid to give someone one of my screeners. I mean, you're not supposed to. I mean, your privileges get taken away.
And where
I know people who've gotten in like trouble for giving a movie out.
These days, when I'm in a relationship, I feel like I'm alone.
Like there's no one behind the mask, no voice on the other end of the line. Are you looking for a car insurance policy totally devoted to you? At Geico.com, you'll find a sympathetic ear, a shoulder to cry on, butterfly kisses, and easy ways to pay your bill and manage your policy. We're waiting with bated breath to help you save money and talk about your feelings. Geico. 15 minutes could save you hundreds on car insurance.
When shopping for car insurance, consider this. Geico has been saving people money on car insurance for over 75 years. So if you're serious about savings, it's simple. Go to Geico.com. After 75 years, they know how to save you money.
It is amazing, like when you have to watch, like something when you have a guest, like I have a radio show now, and like when you have a guest on, they're like, "Hey, this person's coming on, you got to watch it." Or if they're sponsoring, I remember like Don John, the movie was sponsoring for a couple weeks my radio show, and they gave us all screeners, and it was the most elaborate. Like it's only on your computer.
You have to destroy it when you're done.
Well, I can't destroy my computer. That was a problem. It was a whole. Like I had to enter my personal code and like give them my email address, and I'm like, this is like, what is going to happen if I like let the concierge see Don John before it opens?
$250,000 fine, up to 5 years in prison.
I'm not a pirate.
Really?
I resent that.
5 years in prison?
5 years in prison.
You can't fast forward.
See what I'm saying? You think I'm going to dispel what happens in a murder case?
Well, you're willy-nilly about jury duty, and that's a federal thing.
Well, maybe I'll get picked one day.
I hope you do.
Oh, come on.
No, and I hope it's interesting. And I hope they go, and don't worry, when you go home, you can talk about this, and you can write a book about it.
I would definitely tell people.
Are you upset? Do you like the murder shows?
What do you mean?
Like we were talking about TLC earlier. Are you like into like Dateline ID when it's like Keith? You don't know what I'm talking about?
I honestly don't watch that much television. I'll skim. Just like I skim radio stations, I skim TV, and then I just get appalled and write some jokes.
In TLC.
That's not like my lifestyle, though, to like sit home and like see what's on TV.
Well, no, because you're working all the time. Burning Love, very funny in Burning Love, by the way.
Oh, thank you. I like that
one. With veteran of the podcast and good friend Ken Marino.
Oh, I saw his picture up there.
He's the best. He's a good guy.
He is a real talent.
My
he
wife
should be like Tom Cruise.
The hots for Ken Marino. Bad.
She should. He's hot.
Rufus Wainwright.
A great actor.
And Ken Marino were the two where my wife was like,
Rufus, she's going to have a problem.
No, you want to hear something amazing?
He's done with women?
I would assume so.
He did your podcast?
He was our first musical guest. He's our publicist breaker when you're like trying to get like any musical act, and they go, "Well, who have you had?" You know, a publicist job. Just to
and you say him,
and they're like, "Well, my guy's not nearly as cool as Rufus Wainwright."
He is cool. I saw him do. Oh, you would have liked this. Maybe you saw it at the Hollywood Bowl. He did all of Judy Garland's.
Rufus.
It was
I didn't
really
see
good.
it when he did it, but I had the DVD.
It was good. I mean, some of the songs I think were very challenging because it's like she's obviously
whacked.
Well, no, but I mean, it's a woman's voice. It's a high. She's an extremely talented singer, and it's like these songs are made for her to sing. So I think that's got to be hard.
It's a great album.
He was great.
And he admittedly, he was on, what was it? Elvis Costello's Spectacle was a great show. He'd have musical guests on, Elvis would. And he would do.
On what channel? That sounds
It was
good.
on IFC, I believe. It was one of those three. I'm pretty sure it was IFC. And he would be, he would open the show doing one of the other person's songs. So like when.
that's cool. Elvis would.
Yeah. So like when Springsteen was on, he opened the show with She's the One. Or like when the Police were on, you know what I'm talking about. And then...
Do all people from Jersey love Springsteen? This is the second time you've mentioned him.
Yeah, I know, and I hate when I do that.
I could never get past the perm.
The mullet, the perm.
Believe me, I have very cool friends who are very into Bruce Springsteen. I get it. I like Nebraska, but past that, it does not speak to me. That's a cool album. It's very lo-fi.
It was his big FU to his record company.
Oh, really? It was so great.
They demanded another record. They wanted him to do Hungry Heart again, which is a song he wrote, I think, for the Ramones. And they were like, no, it's not really our thing. So Hungry Heart became this huge hit. And then the record company was like, yeah, baby, more like Hungry Heart. And they just kept needling him. And he literally was in a hotel room with an 8-track recording device and did the entire album with there's only the guitar. There's no other, and
I
harmonica.
love that album. I think that's great.
It's bare bones. That's how we did Philadelphia too.
What's that?
I need you to know.
Yes.
We were talking about arias and Sweeney Todd. I have a little bit of knowledge about many, many things. I don't want you thinking I'm a Springsteen crazy person. Nirvana, we talked about earlier.
I'm not saying you're a Springsteen.
I know, but
person.
I'm self-conscious because it is Jersey and Springsteen.
But what were you saying about Springsteen?
You do have the coffee mugs in there.
My Springsteen. No, actually, I have Liberace coffee mugs from the Liberace Museum. That's a bad combination. Never go to the Liberace Museum high. Because
I was thinking about doing my special there.
It would be good.
Live from the Liberace Museum.
You get clearance. You should. It's because have you ever been there?
No.
It's amazing.
I heard it's awesome. I've seen pictures.
And I went. My wife and I. This is a very long time ago, pre-children, obviously. And we were high on her grandmother's medical marijuana, and we're in the summertime in Vegas, and we're like, let's go see a show. Let's do this. And we're like, hey, let's go to the Liberace Museum. We looked it up, and it's only 10 blocks. But in Vegas, it's like a goddamn country mile, each street. And it was the summer, it was 110 degrees. I'm literally wearing denim shorts and flip-flops. And she's wearing a bikini top and pajama bottom. We're out of our minds. And the Liberace gift shop high, it's it's better than going to the grocery store. You just buy everything. There's I'll show you mugs, cookbooks, calendars.
You just bought everything?
Because after you go to the museum, you're like, I've completely undervalued and underappreciated the actual genius. All I know is that he was a very flamboyantly gay piano player that Bugs Bunny took a shot at. I wish my brother George was here. On cartoons, they would make fun of Liberace as a kid. That's all I knew about Liberace. And then I'm in the museum and you're seeing the costumes and the piano and they're piping in this amazing music and you're like, who is this? This is incredible. Is this Bach? And they're like, no, stupid. It's fucking Liberace.
It's Bach.
There's a curator just walking you from a car to a piano to an outfit to a thing. And then you go to the gift shop and you're like, yeah, we were convinced we were going to have a Liberace dinner party. So we got 8 plates, 8, bowls, 8,
they saw you coming.
Mugs. No, I think that's pretty much par for the course because if you're going, we were the outliers. We were just straight people that didn't really know Liberace, that were just high as fuck in the heat. And then where are you going to put all of these things, I asked you, Natasha Leggero? They sell Liberace luggage. There's a roller.
Oh, my God.
So we just put it all in. And we're literally walking back to we were those people. When you're in Vegas, you're who are them? Who are they when they go home, these people?
Who are them?
Look at this lady in a bikini top and a pajama bottom pulling a Liberace suitcase with her crazy, doesn't know he's gay yet husband wearing denim shorts and flip-flops.
You do not have a gay vibe at all, just so you know.
I have a lot of gay knowledge, though. I'm not gay, but I'm definitely on the waiting list. Like, if the King of Kings comes down and he's wearing roller skates, I'm getting in.
My favorite thing was what Aziz Ansari said about James Franco at the roast of James Franco. He was like, what, a guy takes a shower and reads some books now, all of a sudden he's gay? Like, what is that? Like, everyone's so...
yeah, there is a huge...
It's not the worst.
That was my favorite roast, because it was the first time when we were watching it, we got the feeling, you know, they always say, like, you only roast the ones you love. And that was the first roast I'd ever seen where it wasn't like, hey, let's all pile in and make fun of Donald Trump. Like, nobody there fucking loves Donald Trump. They're getting paid to be on a roast. But with the Franco roast, with like Jonah Hill and all the guys,
it had more of the vibe.
Yeah, I really felt like everyone really loved James Franco, and it made it like 50 times funnier. I thought it was head and shoulder. I thought it was the best roast.
I agree.
Did you love doing the roast, or were you panic stricken?
I mean, it was not stressful.
Where was your spot in the roast? Because I don't know if the listeners...
That was stressful because I went up late.
That's the hard part, because as you're sitting there, people start knocking out your jokes.
Exactly. I mean, they kind of cleared stuff, you know, but... And also, I didn't really know a lot of those people very well. I knew the comedians. I knew Nick Kroll and
damn, he was
and
funny.
Sarah. Yeah, but like, I didn't know... You know, James, I think I went up and introduced myself after like the third commercial. Like, he still hadn't said anything to me, and I was, you know, I didn't know him.
Do you think in real life he is that busy? Like, there's such a backlash. Yeah, okay.
I think he's like, I mean, there's a certain type of sober guy where they must be on Adderall or something, like Russell Brand or James Franco. Like, how are they doing so much shit?
I think about this often.
They have this like these crazy eyes. Like, they must be on some sort of thing.
I think about this often. I think they're on them. I think that's the whole trip. Like with Russell's it's all about Russell.
I'm just not like that.
You just turn the addiction onto something else.
On yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. And with Franco, like if Columbia or whatever college is saying you can teach a course here, and you go, I don't know what to teach, and they go, oh, I think he told the college, all I know is me, and they go, teach a class about you.
Did he?
Yeah. And then he began to like kind of Skype it in and half-ass it, and he just writes like poetry books and stuff. But you go on YouTube and just type in James Franco, the guy, like you said, like, I don't know when he sleeps. And
he definitely got enough love from his parents.
Yeah. Maybe too much.
Right.
But he's exceptional. And he was funny in the roast when he said that the Oscars was stand-up tuxedo sleeping art.
Yeah, that was great.
I was like, that's about as good as it gets. Like,
I think that Jeff Ross said that, though.
No, Franco said it about himself. He said,
really?
I fooled all of you.
Oh, okay.
Everybody made fun of him at the Oscars, including when I watched the Oscars with him and Anne Hathaway. I was like, this is a very weird gig that he's sort of not doing. Through the magic of editing, nobody knows that you just left to use the ladies' room.
I had to pee.
Isn't it weird that my house has a men's room and a ladies' room separate with the actual...
I like it. I use the baby's potty.
Little baby potty? You fit on it. You're tiny. You're itty-bitty. You're wee. W-E-E.
I am wee.
But you were commenting on the Chet Baker. It's large. There's no
Let's
other
Get
place.
Lost.
Let's Get Lost.
But I feel like that's a documentary I saw.
There was, that was a great documentary. There's been a few like Bread and Butter, but Let's Get Lost is like the
I really loved
one.
it, and I thought it was so interesting. He's dead now, right?
Yeah, he died in 1988. He fell out of his second-story window in Amsterdam. He lost his keys, and he tried to climb the trellis to get into his apartment.
Was he still doing drugs then?
Oh yeah, that's why he lived in Amsterdam. He couldn't live. They left
I know,
him alone.
like he's sober in Amsterdam, falling out of a window.
Yeah, like the jazz guys would always just go over there because the cops here would hassle him.
Right. Wait, by the way, can you smoke pot in Amsterdam anymore? Because remember they got rid of it 2 years ago?
We'll go to our expert right here.
You never actually were legally allowed to. The coffee shops kind of were just a place where the cops kind of turned a blind eye to it. But now a lot of the coffee shops don't allow you to smoke indoors anymore.
Speaking of pot, I saw you on Get Doug. What is it? Doug High?
Getting Doug with High.
Getting Doug with High. I don't know. It seems like it's a brilliant idea for a podcast. You just sit down and smoke copious amounts of dope.
But he's really pushing it on you.
Well,
I got 2 stoned.
That's to me. I think he should push it on you 45 minutes before the podcast.
Yeah.
Because then the podcast is over and you go back to your car and you don't know how to fucking put a key in the ignition.
It was pretty weird.
Don't you think it would be better if you guys got stoned 45 minutes prior and then like you were just completely balls out, tripping your eyes out?
I mean, I don't know what would be better, but I know that I got really stoned And I feel like I felt, well, also what was not great about it, what I didn't like is you're on camera. And then as I was getting stoned, I was like, wait, I'm like doing a bong hit and this is going to live on the internet for the rest of my life. Like,
when you have kids, they'll be like, don't do drugs. Why? You did it with Doug Benson on his podcast.
it was fun though. I like Doug.
I love Doug. He's great.
He's so funny.
He is very funny.
He's hilarious.
One of my favorite Doug Benson jokes, when he was in the airport, he saw a dog in a cage and said, "Careful, I bite." And he goes, "That's not the most interesting about you. The sign should say, 'Careful, I make signs.'" So goddamn funny.
He's so silly and funny. I really do like him.
And I told you when we were doing that show in with Palo Alto, you have one of my favorite lines in the annals of comedy. Having a child is like getting a DUI from the universe, and you don't even use the line
true?
anymore. I told you it was true on the spot.
No, is it true? Is it you have a child? Is it like?
Oh,
a DUI?
absolutely. You can't go in. It's a game over. Of course, it gives you life, like you are. In a matter of speaking, born again, and you're seeing like there's this living creature that you've created, and they're taking the world in real time, and they're going, fire truck, look at the moon, and like all of a sudden a swing is like.
So you're starting to live a little more in the moment because of your kids.
You have to live in the moment, or they'll choke.
But what about like getting like a night nurse or something?
Yeah, but we don't go out anyway. We're totally square. Like we don't want to go out ever to do anything. It's just like
you do live in this nice little area.
Yeah, the west. Once you get west of like Cloverfield, it's just there's no reason.
Stay indoors.
You just go to the beach, you hang out, you just go for a swim, you surf, you ride a bike. It's all over.
I mean,
I'll go do shows. I like to do shows, and I like I love hanging out with comics. Like I just did Bill Burr's podcast, and I'm Eagle Rock, some way out.
That's where I live.
Someplace. It was far. But just sitting with Bill, even just for like an hour talking with another comic, it was just like, this is all I want to do, like my whole life is just sit with it. But then you realize, oh shit, I forgot. I want to go home and lay in bed and just watch Law and Order and fall asleep.
Now let me ask you something, because I have two very good friends who that's the only way they can get to sleep is by watching Law and Order. Is that how you get to sleep?
I actually love Law and Order.
Because they hate it, but that's the only thing that gets them to sleep.
No, I love
it. It's so boring.
And your friend, I think that's anti-American. Your friends, you might want to take a look at them closely.
I'm just telling you, they're both comics.
I wouldn't want them on my jury.
Funny.
I wouldn't want them on my jury. How do you not love Sam Waterston?
I mean,
Jerry Orbach and Ice-T.
I don't like law dramas.
I like it because if it's one I've already seen, I can close my eyes and I imagine who's talking.
So it does help you go to sleep.
If I've seen it already, if I haven't seen it already, I'm obsessed with whose voice that is, because they have like great guest stars all the time.
Oh, okay.
And it's all like New York theater people. You can tell the guest stars.
Oh, because it's films in New York. It's
yeah,
like the only show casting in New York.
Exactly. So they film in New York. So you have like acting, good acting, like there's good B.D. Wong's like exceptional, and then also to be like, I came as soon as I heard from the park. I heard there's a child missing, and you're like, whoa! Somebody was in the Drowsy Chaperone. Who's like it's just so incongruous to like the guest stars are great. And then when they did it in L.A., they tried to do Law and Order L.A., and it was great because all the guest stars were like, here you get like Angie Dickinson to play like whatever, and it was like, but that got canceled. That's all you need to know about networks. They canceled.
Someone's in Drowsy Chaperone.
Somebody's in. That was my first musical I ever saw. I loved it.
I've never seen that one. I heard it was good.
It was great.
It's a new musical too.
It was very new, and it was great and fun. And then I graduated up to the Sondheim stuff, and then fell in love.
Book of Mormon.
I've never seen Book of Mormon yet.
That's excellent.
It's
one of the top 5 things
you're
around.
Not going to dodge this question. Do you want kids? I'm obsessed with you wanting to know.
I don't know. That baby potty was pretty depressing in there.
Depressing or like hilarious?
It wasn't hilarious.
Let me tell you something. This episode of Mohr Stories with the great Natasha Leggero brought to you by Stamps.com. Postage rates changing again. They keep bumping that price of that stupid stamp up. Do it from your own house. Use your printer. Use your postage stuff from your own home. You got a computer? You could be a boss. You could be a stamps man. Stamps.com always updates the postage rates for you automatically, and unlike those postage meter companies, Stamps.com never charges a fee to do it. Stamps.com, you get the exact postage you need at any time. You'll never have to go to the post office again, ever. I've used Stamps.com, and I have a lot of free time on my hands because I'm not standing in line like a dope. Right now, I have a special offer for you guys. Use my last name, Mohr, M-O-H-R. No risk trial. $110 bonus offer. Boom. Also, oh yeah, there's more. There's always more with Stamps.com. Digital scale, $55 free postage. That's a lot of letters. Don't wait. Go to Stamps.com before you do anything else. Click on the microphone at the top of the homepage and type in Mohr, M-O-H-R. Stamps.com. Enter Mohr. Don't get your identity stolen. Identity thieves are shrewd. Did you know once some red?
I don't like red roses.
You don't, because you're
I always
class.
tell all my suitors, no red roses. Exotic flowers only.
And no baby's breath.
Oh,
the worst.
That is the garbage of the floral community.
It's the flotsam jetsam of just.
You can't ever. I mean, if someone's, I usually take that out of a bouquet.
What if a guy brings you flowers and it has baby's breath in it? Is that like a
major deal? That's like taking me to Disneyland.
There are you hate Disneyland.
Do not.
What if a guy just comes to your door and puts a baby in your face and has him breathe on you?
Baby's breath, literally.
That actually sounds pretty bad too.
You're not a big fan of the babies. You don't want children. A lot of your stand-up is.
I don't say that really. I mean, a lot of my stand-up is about what? That I don't want children. I think you might be confusing me with Jen Kirkman.
Yeah, you. I'm Jiminy Glick. I'm here with Jen Kirkman.
Why aren't you Jen Kirkman right now?
No, you don't. You do. Do you want children? I'm not confusing you with anybody. By the way, the gig we did, I'll let you answer that question. I'll let you ruminate on it. It's a big word. It means think, I suppose. I barely get out of high school. You have a bachelor's degree from what, Hunter College?
I mean, that's not much better.
You're a fancy pants.
In theater criticism.
Yeah, so basically you just criticize yourself because you work in theaters.
Well, I mean, I was applying that towards the theater when I lived in New York, and I would write, criticisms.
You want
reviews.
To be like Clive Barker?
I mean,
is that the right name?
I don't know what I was doing, really.
Is that the guy, the critic, Clive?
I don't think it's Clive Barker.
Clive Barnes? Clive Barnes.
That might be better.
The guy that goes to Broadway and says, like,
yes.
It was this, the Fosse number was a little flat.
Yes.
It was no sweet charity, but what is, et cetera, et cetera. You want to be that? You want to be that lady?
I mean, I think I entertained that for a brief moment, but then I decided to come here and just make fun of TLC.
Good. You should. It is amazing. Like, the Learning Channel has just degenerated into, like, Honey Boo Boo and little people making chocolate.
It's pretty crazy if you look at their lineups.
What's your favorite show on the Learning Channel?
Probably, I like Freaky Eaters.
My weird lock.
Put your name on it. Just put your name on it. That's all I say. Be a man or a woman. Put your name on it.
Well, I'd like to hear about it, potheads.
How the fuck you gonna know how to be great if you don't study greatness? Look at the game tape.
Donuts.
If you want a battle, it's either that you will or you won't.
You know, you're not a bad-looking man, Mr. Gals.
But you are, Blanche. You are in that chair.
There's something wrong with us. Something very, very wrong with us.
Hey, man!
Episode 214, the hot Natasha Leggero. Thank you for coming.
Great to be here, surrounded by bougainvillea. It's so
Bougainvillea,
glamorous.
jasmine you smelled, you said when you came in? We do it right. There's lots of nice foliage.
Your roses up on top, very nice.
Pink roses, pink and white. We do it right. Red, little look at me. Somebody stole all my credit and turned around and said I was Natasha Leggero and she was Jay Mohr. And then we made a pilot and hilarity ensued. Well, it's not funny when identity thieves steal your checking and savings accounts. They're after your cash, your retirement. Identity theft has become such a serious and complex crime. No one, not even law enforcement, can stop all the identity theft. You can't fight it alone. That's why you need, ready? LifeLock Ultimate. LifeLock Ultimate is what I use. No one's stealing my business. LifeLock Ultimate protects your identity, your bank accounts from takeover fraud. Not only does it help guard your identity, your good name and credit, those are essential, no question, but LifeLock Ultimate even monitors your bank accounts for takeover fraud. Just one of the reasons it was awarded Best in Detection among Identity Protection Services. LifeLock Services can't protect you or your bank accounts if you're not a member. Visit LifeLock.com and enter the promo code J, J-A-Y, or call and use promo code J, J-A-Y, J for my special 10% offer discount. Promo code J to get my special 10% discount offer. 800-747-8200. 800-747-8200. 800-747-8200. Lifelong.